right. Welcome everyone to our next virtual workshop foundation presentation. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Zoe. I'm just gonna have a little kind of lecture focus to add into our yoga practice tonight. I'm so glad that we can still connect virtually and still gather and come together to grow and deepen our connection with ourselves and with others and with our community. I encourage you to grab a pen and a piece of paper if you have one. If not, no worries at all, just in case you want to take any notes or make any notes during practice, but totally optional. So we can find our comfortable seat. Always like to mention you can switch this position, so you're not stuck here. You can bring out a leg if that's more comfortable for you. You could switch while we're talking, while we're chatting here. So yeah, this is your practice. That even means the beginning of it. So I named this workshop You Are Nature. If I could go back and name it, it would be Connection in Sadhana. So I'm sorry, before we start, let's actually just close the eyes for a moment and just be aware of your surroundings, your environment. Notice any sounds. Let them drop out of your awareness and bring your attention in towards yourself. What's your energy physically, mentally? How did you come to your practice today? Let's take a deep breath in through the nose. Open the mouth and let it go. We'll do that twice more. Deep breath in. Let it go. All the air that you can. Deep breath. Hold at the top for a moment, feeling yourself full of this breath. And then open the mouth, let it go. Awesome. Breathing in and breathing out. Okay. So now we're a little more in the present moment. We can open the eyes, whatever's comfortable for you. So I first want to mention something that's really important to me in my life, and it's a Sanskrit term called sadhana. So this just means a consistent spiritual practice. It doesn't have to look a certain way, and it also can be acted in different ways, like just talking, throughout the day, or the way you think, for example. But a lot of people kind of look at it as doing something that's integrative, holistic for you. So a lot of us, that might be meditation or a yoga practice. So when I think of the word sadhana, I think of words like consistent, stable, unchanging, right? Something that we can rely on. When I think about nature outside of us, words that I use are always changing, uncertain, and fluid, dynamic, maybe not the most stable. So sadhana to me is consistently unchanging. Even if it looks a certain way, we're not talking about what it looks like, but just coming to something every day that's consistently unchanged. When you look at nature, this is consistently changing. So both of these we can utilize as tools to deepen our connection to ourselves in our world. So as I'm talking more about nature and yoga, I do just want to recognize that this is my interpretation. So this is subjective to me. Hopefully it resonates, but all of this is subjective. Yoga itself is subjective. So you're welcome just to think about more how this relates to you. There's lots of different ways, honestly, that nature is related to yoga. So I'm just talking about like a few that have been resonated lately. So we accept nature as unchanging, right? Like we know that we don't really know what the weather's going to be, and the seasons change. So there's just constant interplay of going through this cycle that's changing. And then we also just have different forces day to day that we're kind of just influenced by. We don't really have a control over that. But we expect this of nature. We accept this too. So I think what could be really powerful is if we start to look at ourselves in that way as fluid, changing. A lot of us, we focus on certain aspects of ourselves, but really we are so many different things, right? Just like nature is. So nature is able to completely transform itself, right? Like the leaves fall, they die, and then the next season it all starts over again. So if we could start to view ourselves as capable of this transformation, like what negative aspects could we maybe reconcile or come to terms with or understand better in ourselves? So like I've lived in this house for 3 years, and I've been watching this tree out my window just constantly go through its evolution each year, and I welcome it. If that wasn't happening, I would be like, whoa, tree, like why? In the winter, I can see through the branches, so I can see the sunset. So it's like, whoa, that's really cool. I can see all the intricacies of the branches. In the summer, I see these beautiful leaves. I see the pretty shadows of the leaves on my rooftop. So it's easy for me to look at these different patterns that nature does and appreciate them in different ways. So this can teach us, I think, to view ourselves looking for different aspects, even if we wouldn't normally like prefer the state that we're in. So it helps us view ourselves with compassion, understanding as well. So back to sadhana, we can use the sadhana, our yoga practice, for instance, as a stability to help us see this change. So we're kind of like this world and nature's going on around us, but it might be harder to view our own selves and see our own patterns. So especially because there's even more things kind of that might influence us compared to nature. Like we have jobs, we have friends and relationships and passions, and we have to exercise, we do all these things, right? So if we give ourselves something stable, something consistent to come back to over and over again, that can serve as our method for viewing where we are each day. And then over time, we'll be able to understand these fluctuations even better. So I also want to mention, I think this really relates to mental health. I'm really passionate about mental health, and this can help us view that we're not stuck where we are, that we're multidirectional and multidimensional. So I wanted just to briefly talk about those two words. Multidirectional is just meaning that it's an unending cycle. So it's going in different directions. You don't really know like where it started. You know, we say that, you know, maybe the year starts in January, but what season starts the year? Like actually, if it wasn't for societal influences, what season would say is the start? The nature probably wouldn't say one. It's infinite. So our mental health is like that too. We can change. We go in different directions. We lose, we gain things throughout our whole life. So that means that we know we're not stuck exactly where we are. Multidimensional, we can easily see, like if we're swimming in the ocean, saltwater, waves, feels so different to us than if we were sitting in the desert in August with the sun and we really need some water. So it's really easy for us to visualize those two contrasting perceptions. So if we could bring that dimension, that idea of multidimensionality to ourselves, it would help us understand that that's expected of us. That's normal. That's where the variety and beautiful things can happen and we can grow from. If anyone does have any questions, you can throw it in the chat, by the way. So I think nature knows all, which is that it knows nothing, and that nothing stays exactly the same. So nature can teach us so many things. So then this is kind of just like using nature around us and how we're interrelated to it, and we can use aspects of ourselves. So nature is inside of us and we're in nature, and it's this manifestation. The sun and the moon in particularly are used a lot in the yoga practice as well. So the sun is just more energizing, warm and outward expression, whereas the moon represents this cool, receptive, and inwardly focused. So we have both of those. Our society tends to value the energizing side. So a lot of times our yoga practices are really intense and fiery. And so this discussion also relates to the ability to know and to gauge, to change our practice. So, we always start a lot of classes always start, moving, but some days we don't need that. Some days we want to exercise. Exercise is different than yoga, right? So some days we exercise and then we come to our yoga practice. We don't need to exercise more. We don't need to do these fiery things. So maybe just coming into child's pose, maybe just doing some low lunges into child's pose. So just knowing that your practice can look totally different, just like you can. So even though we have this stability of the practice, within that stability is also fluctuation. So there's kind of this telescopic view where everything is just, you can get more deep and deep into it, like a little rabbit hole. So yoga helps keep this true. We have this deep, deep self in us that's totally not changing. I think we all kind of have different perceptions of what our true self means to us. But usually emotions, thoughts, those type of things are not who we are. Those can be based on integrating other things in our life. They can be influenced by other people. They can be influenced by what we're going through. So emotions, thoughts, jobs, the people in our lives, the place where we live, the car that we drive, if we drive a car, these are all things that do help identify us, right? They do help make us who we are, but they're not who we are. So yoga, this practice, the sadhana, helps us recognize this unchanging part of ourself, even as everything is changing around us. So I hope that made sense to everyone. We will now do a little practice. But this has been a really passionate topic for me, and it's come up different times throughout my life. So I hope it resonates, and I hope it can help you to relate and know that you change and are fluid, and that's beautiful that way. So let's actually just go ahead and bring our legs out in front of us and just give them a nice little kick. I know we've just been sitting there for at least 10 minutes or so. So let's just stay there. Bring the legs out in front of you. We're just gonna close the eyes and just take a little centering again. So just coming back to your breath, breathing in. Exhale, open the mouth, let it go. Doing that again. Opening the mouth, letting it go. Reflecting for a moment where we are in the seasons. And a lot of times we kind of feel this we don't want summer to end. We have kind of this pull of trying to keep it there. But this can all just help us understand that we can look forward to different aspects. So fall can bring in so many other things that to incorporate, to slow down, to come inward, to focus on our goals. Maybe just reflecting if there's a spot that you like to go to in the fall in particular. Maybe a certain tree, maybe a certain spot at the river where you notice fall. And just steep yourself in this environment. And even though everything is literally dying, look at how beautiful that process can be. I like to think that each fall I'm losing things that I've acquired that aren't really mine. So maybe that's one aspect of fall that can help us make sense of our own life, that we do kind of bring in other things from life, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're ours. So it's just one example. Coming to your breath, softening the face. letting go of expectations for this practice. Just as we release expectations, we try to release expectations for nature, because we can only control so much. And really, in the magic in yoga will come when we try not to control as much. When we can actually just tune in and meet ourselves where we are. Recognizing that sun and moon aspect, both of them are within all of us. Certain days, certain one of us, we might have different levels, but just knowing that they're both there and we can help manage them. Take another deep breath in and exhale out. Awesome. So let's come back to a comfortable position, whatever that is for you. Maybe just an easy cross-legged position. We won't be here long. We're just gonna do a short little warm-up. So we're gonna bring the shoulders all the way by the ears and then exhale, roll them all the way back. So we'll do that a couple times, bringing them up and then rolling back. Noticing your breath. And we'll go the other direction, all the way up and down, all the way up and down. And let's do one more. And then we'll go the other direction. And just land with them going back behind you. Let's drop the right ear down towards the shoulder and just take a deep breath here, breathing in. Exhale out. Visualizing this opposite side opening, maybe playing with some different angles over on this side, shifting back and forth. Moving slow, coming through the center, making your way to the other side. Letting the head rest. Deep breath, breathing in. Exhale. Visualizing this opposite side is opening and letting go. Coming through the center and making your way over to this first side again. And we'll just deepen the stretch. We can reach over. Just assisting, lightly grabbing the outside of the head, maybe even reaching out with the other hand. Can also find the ground. One more breath. Exhaling. So we'll bring the hand to the outside of the head, right by the ear, and just help it back up. And then we'll go the other way. We'll drop the ear down towards this left side. If you want to deepen the stretch, we can reach over and really gently. We don't want to be pulling or gripping. We're just helping it out. So we can't change too much how we came to our mat. We can only meet ourselves where we are. We can only offer tools to help ease and lead to towards more integration of body, mind, and spirit. So let's release the hand and we'll come down to the center and just gently use one hand behind the head here. And then let that go. Bring the head up towards neutral. Inhale, let's open our arms. We'll reach up to the sky. Exhale, opening them wide. Doing that again. Deep breath in. Reach up. And then exhale, coming down. Let's go ahead and just stand up. Coming towards the top of your mat. We'll find our Tadasana position. So the feet are grounded. Imagine like a fist is in between your legs so that we want to stand like hip distance apart, opening the palms, roll the shoulders back, up and back. Closing the eyes for a moment. Taking a breath here, inhale, thinking about the crown of the head reaching up towards the sky. Exhale, thinking about your feet grounding into the earth. So even here in Tadasana, I think it shows us that we're supported by nature on each side. So we always have nature on every side of us, literally surrounding ourselves. So we're never actually alone. Let's go ahead and go in towards our Sun A. We'll bring hands to heart center. So let's do it one time, and then we're gonna pause, and I'm just gonna talk about it, and then we'll do it one more time. So we'll bring the hands right up to the sky as we inhale. Exhale, bow to your forward fold. Inhale, we'll lengthen, halfway lift, hands come to shins, look forward. Exhale, forward fold, bow back to the earth. Drop the head, maybe even shake the head out. No, and then yes. Let the head rest. Notice your hamstrings. You can have the hamstrings really bent here. So if your hands aren't on the ground, we'll bend the knees even deeper to plant your hands on the ground. And then we'll take a big step back with the right foot. So here you can lower the knee down. I just like to mention you can have the knee down this whole time. You don't have to take this huge step back to plank. So you always can bring in more strength. So we're at the top of a push-up. We're looking forward. Wrists should be right below shoulders. Deep breath in. Feeling how strong you are. Exhale, we'll bring the knees down and then elbows go straight back. We'll bring the chest and the belly down at one time, welcoming ourselves to the support of the earth. Noticing these different aspects that relate to nature that comes into our practice almost naturally. So inhaling, finding a cobra. And let's slow this first sun down. We're gonna do 2 more cobras. So we'll come back down, feeling the support of the earth, resting the chin. So the tops of the feet are down and the legs are close together. Hands are outside the ribs. Elbows are going way back. So you should feel the shoulder blades kind of coming in together. Inhale, we'll do 1 more. Then we'll come to the knees, turn over your toes, and the hips go up high. Downward facing dog. So we can lower the heels towards the earth. And while we're here, we can walk out the dog, bending the knee, straightening the opposite one, maybe even lifting it off the ground. So just observing the hamstrings, how we came to our mat, not judging, just as we don't judge, or we try not to judge what's around us. It is our thoughts' nature is to judge, but we don't always have to take that as truth, right? So let's make our way towards stillness here whenever you're ready, no rush. We'll inhale, ground down through the hands, drop the head. You should find your dristi in between the shins. Your dristi is just the place to look at that's not moving. You probably already exhaled, but just imagine your legs going back as you take each exhale. The legs are slightly turning in. Let's do 1 more breath. Inhale, ground down through the hands, head is dropping. Exhale, energetically pressing back through your legs. Inhale, we'll come high in the toes. We'll look forward. Exhale, bend your knees, and then we'll walk on our tiptoes up to meet our palms. You can always release the hands. Now we'll bring our hands to shins, finding that Ardha, halfway lift, halfway forward fold. Exhale, we'll bow back down. And let's sneak in a little shoulder opener here. So we can bring the hands behind the back, interlace our fingers, and then just extend the arms straight back. So you can stay right here, take a breath in. If you want to go a little deeper, we can bring the arms more closer towards the head, kind of squeezing the shoulder blades together. And then we'll stay for another breath. So try to soften the shoulders. Don't actively squeeze as much. We'll take another breath. Breathe in. Exhale out, feeling the arms go back, relaxing the face. And then slowly we'll bring the hands back towards the lower back, and 1 arm at a time, drop them back down towards the ground. Next, inhale, we'll imagine the feet pushing into the support of the earth, allowing us to stand, allowing us to grow taller like a plant. So we'll open our arms, reach up to the sky. Exhale, hands come down to heart center. Closing the eyes here briefly. Taking a breath in. We can open the mouth, let it go. And then you can just shake it out. Maybe stretch the feet a little bit. All right, so we're gonna pause just for a moment. I wanted just to briefly talk about Sun A. So Sun A physically is a great way to warm up the whole body. You might already notice hamstrings, lower back, shoulders, everything gets a little lengthened, a little stretched. So it's a great way to start the day, just doing 4 or 5 of those. A pivotal point of Sun A is starting hands at the heart center. So I really like to talk about why we have our hands at our heart here. So I mentioned the sun and what the sun means in yoga. So I'm sorry, my phone just has this little notification. There we go. The sun is energizing, right? It literally energizes everything in our life. We need it. We need the light. We need it to grow. So it's pivotal, right? We do have this other side, the moon, that stands for more of our mind and for consciousness. That also is more of the cooling side. So like I said, we have both, and there's different ways to honor both of these. So when we're doing a Sun A, we are focused on showing our devotion towards this sun that's outside of us, that illuminates everything so we can see, that allows everything to grow. But we're also showing devotion to the sun that's inside of us, which is our heart space. So again, there's a couple of different ways we can look at this, right? So it's this energizing aspect of us that we need. We have to move, we have to exercise. But as I talked about in the beginning, this side, we do feel this already. So this is easy to connect with that. The sun also represents our heart. So in our culture, we also tend to value the mind and the brain over our heart space, over kind of this intuition that our heart just knows. So I've kind of taken this interpretation that in yoga, we're balancing that. So we're focusing back on this heart in our sun salutation as well. So that is what allows us to energize ourselves. It allows us to have compassion for ourselves, for other people. So it's very necessary. So I think it's actually interesting how, the energizing aspect of the sun is really felt in our society, physically, but then maybe even the emotional side of the sun, how it represents our heart, that part is a little more taboo. So it can be interesting how our current Western world, again, this is my interpretation, but we kind of seem to pick and choose kind of what we favor and what we want to fit in from yoga. So I think it's great just to look at what we're actually doing and why we're doing that. So let's come back to the front of our mat, and we will find hands at our heart center, mudra here, and close the eyes for just a moment. Breathing in, honoring this heart space, exhaling out. Going into a Sun A, inhale, arms go up to the sky, showing our gratitude for this sunlight. Exhale, we'll bow towards the earth. You can bend the knees as you come down. Let the head drop. Inhale, we'll lengthen, halfway lift, look forward. Exhale, we'll bend the knees a lot so we can plant the hands down. Left leg, big step back. Hands are grounded. You can either lower both knees together and then lower from there, or you can take this big step to plank. Your yoga practice can look different. Everyone's can look different. You can change it day to day. One breath here, breathe in, look forward. Exhale, we'll bring the knees down. Elbows go straight back. Everything lowers at one time. Feeling ourselves grounded. Lengthening the legs back. Hands are outside the ribs. We'll do one cobra or upward facing, whatever you prefer. Exhale to the knees, turn over the toes, push up to plank, and then push back, downward facing dog. Walking out our legs, maybe shaking out the head. And we'll do 2 breaths here in some stillness whenever you're ready. And I also just want to note, your heels do not have to be on the ground here. A lot of us kind of force them to the ground. They can just be reaching for the ground. So just honoring where you're at today, knowing it can change. I should have done 2 breaths by now. So we'll inhale high on the toes. We'll look forward. Exhale, we'll bend the knees. However you want to get to the top to meet your hands. You can just take a walk, a step, or a float. Inhale, lengthen, halfway lift. Exhale, bow down, forward fold. Drop that head. You can bend the knees a lot. Next inhale, we'll ground down through the feet to slowly rise. Opening the arms, reaching up. Exhale, hands come down to the heart space. Back again, honoring our inner wisdom here, found in our heart center. Showing our gratitude, allowing us to be energized and to create things, and to also possess compassion, acceptance for ourselves and for other people. We're all going through such a subjective experience here on earth. So let's drop the hands and find our Tadasana pose, our mountain pose. So as you notice, there are already a lot of references to nature in yoga. So we have our mountain pose here. I just like to visualize, a mountain just in my head. Really tall one, strong, flourishing. Deep breath in, feeling the crown of the head lift. Exhaling, feeling the feet ground into the earth, supported by both sides by nature. Fingertips should be outstretching and open, receptive. And that kind of reminds me, that use of receptive, that was a quality listed of the moon. Moon has this cooling, more receptive quality. So it's just cool just to even notice how we can, even in poses, we can kind of utilize different aspects that are represented by the moon. So when the hands, I think, to me, my interpretation of the hands being open, engaged, we're just letting the universe know that even with all this uncertainty around us, we're still here. We're still listening, and we're still willing to grow. We're excited to grow, to let go of what we don't need. So we can really bring a lot of symbolism into our yoga practice. So we're gonna do a little bit more of this kind of fiery practice, and then we're gonna really slow things down and bring in the cooling quality. So I just wanted to show these two different aspects in the yoga practice and just give some representations. So for a good sequence for kind of fiery, when you need to let go of energy, connect the body and mind together, some warrior two sequences are great. So let's come to the front of our mat. We'll take a big step back with the right leg and go ahead and open to warrior two. So the hips open, we want the front heel right in the middle of our back arch. That back big toe is slightly coming in. So that allows us to use the outside edge of that foot. So it's using the support of the earth, pressing down. So even in yoga too, we're always communicating with the earth. We always have this receptivity. So the knee is right over the ankle. Again, the hips are opening and the legs are super strong. Let's open our arms and gaze past our fingertips. So feel the legs working here, feeling how capable you are. We'll turn the front hand and find reverse warrior. So let's make a little flow out of this. We're gonna come back up to warrior two, and then reach with this left hand. We'll drop the forearm down to the thigh. Bring the other arm overhead for extended side angle. And now we'll actively use the outside edge of that right foot to push against the ground, helping you be more stable to support yourself here. Feeling the side body open and lengthen. We'll take a deep breath, breathing in. Exhale, imagine your feet grounding down, and the back hip is grounding down as well. We'll go right back, reverse warrior. So let's just go, you can kind of go at your own pace. We'll just do a couple flows back and forth, just to this reverse warrior, and then to extended side angle. Reaching out at stretching, this outward expression of ourselves. Noticing your breath. Let's come back to warrior two. We'll pause. Let's straighten the leg, shorten the stance a little bit, and we'll find triangle. So the hips go straight back. We'll reach with the arm, drop it to the leg, and bring the other arm overhead. Feeling your hip go back in space, feeling everything else come in towards the center, utilizing the strong core. Deep breath in. Exhale, we'll go back, straight-legged reverse warrior. So just straight back. Nice. We'll come back up, find warrior two. So we're gonna turn this right leg out and find goddess pose. You can kind of adjust as you feel needed. We'll bring the hands down on the knees, shoulders go up and back. Knees should be about over the ankle, totally doesn't have to be exact. Maybe we can go back and forth a little bit. And then just find some stillness, letting the pelvis drop, kind of the shape that we don't often make. Maybe we can add in a little more strength, connect the thumb and the index finger, bring this mudra out, deep breath in, exhale, feeling this powerful pose. One more breath. Exhale, we'll stand. We'll turn the other way. So we'll turn in the left toes and then bend the right knee over the ankle. We want the front arch in the middle. I'm sorry, always do that. The front heel in the middle of your back arch. Finding Virabhadrasana 2, looking past your front fingertips, noticing your hips open to the side. Legs are extremely stable and solid, right? Just like our Sadhana. So we'll open our front hand, we'll come back, reverse warrior. Legs are not moving, they're just supporting, just like the earth does for us. We'll come back up, warrior two. So we just want to remind you, you want this back big toe slightly coming in. That allows you to use that outside edge of the foot a little bit more. Looking past the fingertips, we'll reach. We'll bring the forearm down to the thigh and bring the other arm overhead. Deep breath in, lengthen out in all directions. Exhale, just try to soften something. Try to relax your face. One more breath. Exhale, we'll bring the arm back. We'll ground down through the feet. The hip presses down, just energetically finding warrior two. Then we'll find this little flow. We'll go back, reverse warrior. We'll come forward, extended side angle. If you want to add a little more strength, you can leave the arm off the leg. Noticing the stability, but also grace. Noticing these different aspects within ourselves and how these different aspects come out within our yoga practice. So we're kind of exploring all kind of these different dueling aspects within ourselves. We'll come back up whenever you're ready, warrior two. And then we'll straighten the leg. We'll slightly shorten our stance and we'll find Trikonasana, triangle pose. So we'll shift the hips straight back. Everything is coming into the strong core. Drop the hand down wherever it falls. And then we'll bring the other arm overhead. So again, the legs are really solid and stable, grounded into the support of the earth. You should feel this side body stretch here. Let's do another breath. Breathe in. Exhale, we'll ground the feet down. We'll just go back straight-legged, reverse warrior. Nice. We'll come back up. Let's bend the front knee again. Warrior two, using past your fingertips. And then we'll open this left leg and go back. We'll bring the hands to heart, drop the pelvis down, back into this goddess pose. Maybe we'll bring the arms up, just a full expression of the body here. Deep breath in and out. Trying to soften. So with every breath, it's like we're energizing and softening. Wow. So it's like we have aspects of sun and moon even in our own breath. So let's stand up, straighten the legs. Let's turn towards the front of our mat. We're going to take a vinyasa. You're welcome to skip this and just come into child's pose or come into downward dog. Otherwise, we can windmill the arms down, pop the back heel up, make your way towards a plank or a plank with the knees. So I'm just going to show that real quick because you can always keep your knees here. We'll do a deep breath in, exhale, down to the ground. Inhale, lift the heart up. Exhale, we'll go back to child's pose. Deep breath in. Exhale out. Just letting your heart slow down here. Let's all meet back in downward dog for a moment. We'll turn over the toes, hips go high, walking out your legs, dropping the head. And then let's bring the right leg all the way up in the air. We'll open the hip back and just give it a little shake, trying to ground down evenly through the shoulders. Maybe take some circles. We'll bring the leg down whenever you're ready, and then we'll switch sides. Left leg, we'll lift it up and then open the hip. Try to press down evenly through the hands and the shoulders, dropping the head, finding some little circles with the knee. Lower that down. Let's inhale high on the toes, roll forward to plank. This will be our last strength. We're gonna look forward, breathe in. Exhale, we can lower the knees down or lower everything down towards the ground. Inhale, cobra or upward facing. Exhale, go back, downward facing. Let's come inhale high on the toes, roll forward to plank. Exhale, push back, downward dog. Sorry, I totally just lied. I'm really sorry about that. I said that would be the last strength, but I just had to do one more. So I want us just to feel this energized feeling in our body. So just one more time, inhale, coming back into plank. Look forward, and then exhale, push back. Just feeling how we can create this fiery feeling within ourselves. So now we'll lower down the knees, come back into child's pose. I do want to mention we can have another variation of child's pose where the knees and hips are up higher and we're lengthening out. So maybe you can still open the knees like wider, or they can stay closer together. You can tuck the toes. So here's another option for you. You don't have to press your forehead to the ground. If it is on the ground, you can rock it back and forth, feeling some groundingness. So there's different ways that we can bring in this sense of nature in different poses. So just feeling the groundedness, feeling your connection to the earth, this inevitable connection. We're literally physically connected to the earth because of gravity, right? All right, so let's come push the hands to lift up the spine. And we'll find some cat-cows. So inhale, we'll open the chest, sit bones go to sky. Exhale, we'll round. Pressing through the hands to really round the back. Inhale, scooping the heart open. Exhale, rounding. And then if you want to add in any other movements, hips can go out to the sides. Some big circular motions. Go both directions. So we're starting to shift, you might have noticed, more towards this cooling aspect. So it can be really nice to actually come back to child's pose, making a big circle with the whole body. So you'll notice the more cooling postures have a tendency to bring the body physically even more inward. So we're actually like bringing the head down, we're kind of closing in on ourselves. It's trying to connect us more with our introspective nature, the ability to reflect on our perception, reflect on things that have happened during the day, reflect and notice our patterns. So we have to parallel all that energy with groundedness. So let's look forward. Whenever you're ready, we'll define up this neutral tabletop. We'll take a big step forward with the right leg, and then we'll walk up to the right knee. So we'll do just a low lunge on Jnanasana. So we'll bring the left arm up. I always kind of ease us into this pose. So inhale, we'll reach up, and then exhale, we'll drop the pelvis down. And if you're struggling with balance, you can move the right leg over to the right a little bit, maybe the left leg even over to the left. So we don't want to be like on a slack line. So on the exhale, we'll soften the pelvis down, dropping it closer to the earth. Inhale, we'll reach back up to the sky. Exhale, we'll drop it back down towards the earth. Kind of feel the knee almost digging against the ground, rocking forward. This right knee is coming out to the side, not dropping in. Inhale up. In a lot of poses, we have this rooting to rise action where the front foot here is pressing down, and that's actually helping us to lift up. So it's just like this, hope you like my sound effect there. So using the ground, using the support to help lift us up higher. Let's bring the right hand down to the right knee, and we're just gonna fall over to the right side. And then we'll come right back up. This is a little bit of a balance, so just have lots of compassion on yourself. We'll fall back over to the side after lifting up. We'll come down. We'll bring both hands down to the right knee, shifting the hips back to straighten the leg. If you have a blanket or a pillow, you can put it under your left knee. And this can be intense, so tuck your back toes. That can help with balance. We're inhaling to lengthen. Exhale, try to come over this right leg. So keep trying to lengthen out the spine. With every inhale and with every exhale, we can kind of soften. Right hip is going back in space, and the left is coming forward. Really subtle, so don't worry about it too much. So trying to soften the hamstring. Inhaling, we'll come up nice and high. We can use our leg as a support. And then exhale, bow back over. So let's give the leg just a little break, a little check-in. We'll hinge the hips back forward to the low lunge where we were before. Right hand can stay on the right leg, lifting up. And then we'll go back, tucking those back toes, laying over the leg, breathing in. You can always bring the foot forward. Exhale, always adjust as you feel needed. So we'll try to bring the hands down where we can support ourselves. You can do on either side of the leg or just on both on the inside, and then just a big step to join the knees back together. And then we'll go back to child's pose, welcoming the support of the earth, knowing we don't need to be more than what we are in each instant. So when we're resting, fully resting, not trying to do, not wanting to need to do something else. And when we're being energized, when we're doing those warrior sequences, not wanting as best we can to not be in this pose. So just enjoying and savoring where we are when we're in that moment. Let's do a deep breath here. Breathe in. Open the mouth, let it go. We'll press down with the hands, lift the spine back up to this tabletop position. So we'll do the left leg. We'll take a big step, bringing the leg forward. You can always help it out if you want. And then we'll bring the hands up towards this left knee. So left foot can go a little bit to the left. And then we'll keep the left hand on the left knee. We'll bring the right arm up. So inhale, we'll reach. And then exhale, we can just drop this pelvis down. Doesn't have to be a lot. We'll press down. This front foot grounds down. That actually helps us lift up as we breathe in. Imagine this back knee is kind of digging forward on the mat. The tailbone is slightly tucking inwards. Exhale, we're coming closer to the earth. Inhale, we're reaching up. Exhale, we'll drop down. Let's do it one more. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, we'll soften. Inhale, we'll come up, but we can come halfway down if that's comfortable for you. We'll keep the left hand where it is, and we're just gonna fall over to this left side. So you should feel it higher along the outside of the IT band. And then we'll come up on the inhale. Again, this is a balance, so just have compassion on yourself. Balance is something that's different every single day. Come back up. It's one of those things that changes within our practice. So the practice is our stability that we have there, but then knowing that that has its own fluctuations as well. So we'll come back up to neutral, and then we'll straighten this left leg. So you can kind of scooch the foot forward a little bit, and then we'll come over to use our leg as a support. You can also tuck the back toes. Inhale, we'll lengthen. Exhale, we'll bow over the leg. Left hip is going towards the left and the right hip is coming forward. Deep breath in, we lengthen. Exhale, we soften. Trying to lay over the leg as much as you can instead of like coming way over to the side. Trying to balance effort and ease, keeping the face relaxed. So let's give the leg a break. We'll look forward, just hinge the hips forward. Maybe just open the right arm. You can keep your left hand where it is. And then we'll go back one more time. Using the ground. If you're near a wall, you can also use the wall as a support. Let's do a deep breath, breathing in. Exhale, soften. And then we'll use the support of the ground to bring the left leg back. We also could grab it literally and just, oh God, maybe not, maybe don't do that. Sorry, I'm gonna hurt myself during this. So inhale, we'll open the chest, and then exhale, we'll round. Focusing on my talking. So let's go back to child's pose. And we'll do another really cooling thing here. So we'll look forward and literally just kind of roll like a lizard up to cobra position. And then inhale the heart up. And then exhale, we'll just go right back to child's pose, rounding in the head. Doing that again. If you'd rather just stay in child's pose, please do that. Otherwise, we can just bring the body through the arms. Inhale up to cobra. And then exhale, go back. Child's pose, feeling this nice roundiness in the spine. Deep breath here, breathing in. Open the mouth, let it go. Relaxing the face. Let's do it one more time. We'll look forward, nice and slow. Tops of the feet are down. Inhale, baby cobra. Maybe we lift up a little higher. And then push back, child's pose. Maybe lifting up the hips a little bit higher to tuck the toes. Just trying out a different option. You also could keep the legs closer together, bring the arms alongside the body, and then turn to look one way. So that's just another option. Taking a deep breath and a soft breath out. Let's come back up towards our tabletop. Taking a couple more cat-cows. We'll inhale to open the spine upwards. Exhale, we round. Bring the belly button in towards the spine. Drop the tailbone. One more each way. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. Nice. So let's make our way to sit. So we can just bring the knees in, bring the hips over to one side, and kind of swivel the legs around. So we'll go into Paschimottanasana. We'll bring the legs right out in front of us. I'll turn this way, you can see me a little better. So legs are out. We turn them inwards. Sit bones are on the ground. We'll inhale the arms up. So just for a moment, just notice the back of the legs. Your sits bones are anchored into the earth. So we want to try to maintain that groundiness as we bow over towards ourselves. Dropping the arms wherever they fall is perfect. Inhale, lengthen, halfway lift. And then exhale, round. So just falling into this pose, however feels best for you. So you can bend the knees. You can just round the spine, kind of tucking the chin. Another breath. We'll bring the hands outside the legs. We'll look forward and walk ourselves up. Let's find Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose. We'll bring the feet to touch right in the middle of the pelvis. You can rock the sitting bones out, and you can always find like a bigger diamond. We'll bring the hands to the feet. Inhale, open the chest, kind of open the feet, and then we'll bow down. Doesn't have to be a lot. We still want to be lengthening out of the lower back. You can sneak in some self-care here. Give the feet a little massage. Tops of the feet, the arches, and by the heels. And then just taking a deep breath, breathe in. And walk yourself out a little bit more, whatever feels good for you. Try to communicate to the hips to let them go, to be soft, that they're safe to open. Come into your breath. Inhaling, we'll look forward, and then exhale, we'll walk ourselves up. So we'll bring the knees together, and then we'll lower ourselves to the earth. So we can bring the arms out and just slowly roll down. Totally doesn't have to be perfect. We'll give ourselves a nice hug here, letting the head rest, giving ourselves a hug, welcoming this full support of the earth beneath us. So from here, we can just find a couple more cooling poses to close our practice. We can bring the left foot down, take the right ankle over the left knee for figure 4 pose to work into the hips. So we'll lift the legs up, interlace above or below the knee, wherever is the best grab. Think about your right hip pushing away from you. Inhale, we'll bring the legs in. And then exhale, we'll push them away. So it's just subtle. It's just to move with your breath. Inhale, the legs come up. Exhale, they push away. Deep breath in. Soft breath out. Sending some awareness to the right hip, letting it know that it's safe to open and let go. Maybe a little rocking side to side. And maybe a little stillness. Deep breath. Soft exhale. Face is soft. Whenever you're ready, no rush. We'll bring that left foot down, unhook the leg, and we'll go to the other side. Left ankle over the knee. We'll bring the legs up, interlace above or below the knee. Think about your left knee moving away from you. And then inhale, we'll gently kind of squeeze the legs in towards us. And then exhale, push the legs away. So there's this leverage, the leg into the hands and the hands into the leg. Trying to keep the face soft. Noticing your breath. Welcoming this cooling, calming down part of our practice. Maybe a little side to side action. And then maybe a little stillness, just finding the breath. Exhale, maybe open the mouth. Whenever you're ready, you're welcome to hold this a little longer. If you need, we'll drop the foot down, release the leg. Have the legs about mat distance or so, and we'll find some windshield wipers. We'll bring the legs over to one side, one knee in the hips, one knee out toward the sides, and go the other way. A couple times. And then we can just land on one side and make it into a twist. So kind of stack the knees a little bit more. Look over to the opposite side. You can use one hand to stack the knees. Deep breath in. And an exhale. Think about the whole spine lengthening from the crown of your head all the way down towards the tailbone. Trying to create lots of space. Keeping the face soft. Using that breath with every exhale, finding that cooling, softening aspect. And whenever you're ready, we'll bring the knees up. Shift the hips over to the other side and then drop the knees down, and we'll look the other way. Deep breath, breathing in. Soft exhale out. Trying to keep the shoulders on the ground, but accepting wherever you are. Some days it might be easier than others, so we don't want to force it, right? Another breath. Try to lengthen all the way from the crown of your head, all the way towards the tailbone. Softening on every exhale. Whenever you're ready, we can bring the knees back up. Give them another hug. And go into some happy baby variation. So we can open the legs, reach over towards the outside of the knees or the shins or the ankles. And just try to keep the legs really heavy. It's just the arms and the hands that are working to keep them in the air. Maybe reaching for the outer feet, ankles over knees. Again, the legs are completely relaxed. Deep breath in. soft exhale out. Maybe bring the feet together to touch, grabbing onto the ankles. Just another option. Trying to keep the shoulders on the earth. Whenever you're ready, one leg at a time, dropping it down to the earth. Maybe a couple more windshield wipers, rinsing that out. Heading into Savasana whenever you are ready. If you want to fit in a couple more poses, you're welcome to. Maybe lifting the legs up to the sky, just allowing the blood flow to drop down. If it's in your practice, you could lift up to shoulder stand or go back to Halasana. But in your mind's eye, whether you're heading there right now or in a second, picturing Savasana, picturing yourself in this full state of surrender, dropping into the earth, letting the legs expand and grow soft, letting the arms lengthen, shoulders come underneath the chest, letting the feet, the ankles, the hands just fall open completely naturally. Taking a deep breath here, breathing in, exhale, breathing out. Feeling that breath spread and circulate throughout your being. Surrendering to the earth, letting it hold you here. Feeling the spine held. Feeling the back of your head dropping heavy but weightless into the earth, almost as if the earth was a cloud right now, just to hold you. Face is relaxed, the forehead, the eyes, and the jaw. Maybe even opening and closing the jaw. Letting go of any unneeded tension. Doing a little body scan, sweeping down your body, looking for any leftover tension that's not needed anymore. Letting it know it can go. Letting any breath awareness float out of your attention. Rather, just try to drop into this deeper state of relaxation. Allowing the body, mind, and spirit to integrate all that you just did and listened to. Start to invite a deep breath back into the body. Feeling ourselves reawaken, bringing in some movement, the fingers and the toes, circling wrists and the ankles. Can bring the arms overhead like we're reawakening, waking up for our first time. Completely reset from that practice and from our Savasana. Savasana literally means corpse. So it's almost like we're being reborn, just like the leaves do. We'll bring the knees in towards the center, turning over onto one side, using your arm as a pillow. Resting in this transitional pose, taking a full breath in and out. Whenever you're ready, we'll use the other hand to press up. Coming back to where we started, the same comfortable position. Taking a deep breath in and out, shoulders go back. We can connect the finger and the thumb. Let's bring the hands down on our knees, kind of just sealing in this groundedness since it's the end of the night. influencing us to also ground with it, allowing ourselves to rejuvenate so that we can energize with the sun when we wake up tomorrow morning. One quote I wanted to share real quick, I shared it on my post, but I'm hoping now we will even understand it a little bit better. So the quote is, "The brain is symbolized by the moon. It reflects the sun's light, but it doesn't have the capacity to generate its own light. The moon is a reminder that although we believe truth is a product of the mind, in fact, the opposite is true. It is of the heart." So of course, we need this aspect of ourselves, right? We need the mind too, but we have to parallel that with what's present in our heart. So I don't think it's saying that like our mind is not important per se, but it's just saying that there's a lot of truth that we can take in when we look at other aspects of ourselves. So the mind is just one part of who we are. And we have this other really full part of ourselves that we can connect with. So we'll bring the hands together in front of the heart, closing the eyes if they're not, taking a deep breath in. Exhale out. Sending so much gratitude to yourselves, yogis, friends, for joining. We can all connect together. I thank each and every one of you so much. Namaste. Thank you all for practicing with me. And thanks to PLF, Party Liberation Front, for organizing. I'm so glad to be a part.